Downtown development authorities were created in the 80s by the Wyoming State Legislature. I believe it's 15-9-201, and that again is the enabling document from state statute. And then state statute gives the authority to the municipalities of whether they want to have keep that in-house, or if City Council decides that they want to have a separate body and board of directors run with that. Here in Casper, the decision was made in, I believe, 1987 to give that authority to a 11-member City Council appointed board of directors. So we've been operating since 1987. Really, it was created to keep focus on downtowns and to say, you know, remember us, we're still here. One of the things we do is definitely beautification programs to improve downtown aesthetically. We also help sponsor some of the events and put on that you might be familiar with, whether it's you know, the Christmas parade, the summertime parade, crazy days and balloon fests in the summer months, things of that nature. Right now we talked about Santa's workshop that's going on for the holiday season, those things. So on top of beautification, on top of opportunities for engagement with the public and on different special events, we also dabble in business recruitment, retention, expansion, things of that nature, trying to bring in new businesses. And we've seen that in the last 2 years, at least since I've been here, with folks taking an interest in downtown and seeing the resurgence where they want to be down here and we want them here. One of the main questions or things that people don't always understand is that our funding historically since 1987 up until recently has come solely on the backs of the property owners downtown. So how that works is there's a special mill levy above and beyond your property taxes, and each property and property owner contributes a fee in accordance with that mill levy. That goes into the pot that funds the Downtown Development Authority. And then that is voted on, the election of that mill levy is voted on every 4 years. So if we're not doing our job, our property owners who are my bosses have the opportunity to say no more. We've been very fortunate since 1987 that has not been the case. Most recently, I believe it was 2 years ago, we had our last election, and I believe the voting numbers were 24 for another 4 years to 1 opposition. I hope at least everyone is familiar or has heard about the Downtown Events-Driven Public Plaza. That was one that our group championed. From certain board members traveling outside of Wyoming. Most notably was Rapid City, South Dakota, where 5 years ago they started this process of taking an empty piece of land in the heart of their downtown and putting in an outdoor civic space, an outdoor entertainment venue. That includes a band shell, a splash pad for the kids to play in, potentially an ice rink in the winter months. Really a year-round entertainment venue that's open and accessible to the public, free or low-cost events. So really Rapid City was our guide. They really set the stage, not only in our region, but quite honestly nationally. And we're in the process of working on that project right now with the design teams, the architects, the engineers, specialty plaza consultant to bring that to Casper.
We were selected way back in August, September after an interview process, and was happy that they interviewed pretty much only Casper firms, which was pretty cool. We teamed up with a group of consultants from South Dakota. Our landscape architect is from Custer, and our plaza consultant is actually the guy that runs Rapid City's plaza. And so he helped design that, and he now runs it. And one of the reasons why we wanted him on our team was to make sure that we were doing the right things and also not repeating mistakes that they did over there. We started out with a design charrette process, which was really a great process. We had a mix of people from all over Casper, young and old, and millennials, and just people that own property in downtown and Old Yellowstone, people that own businesses here. Just a very diverse group, and we had a lot of fun with that process. What we do with a design charrette is we bring everybody in for a really intensive session to figure out what they want out of their plaza. Then we go through a bunch of exercises. We talk about other projects that have happened recently in downtown and how they've affected the downtown. Then we talked a little bit about social context, how other communities have event spaces like Cheyenne's Depot Plaza, and Cody has the fairgrounds and some other things like that. We talk a lot about Casper character, not just buildings, but the whole philosophy and attitude of Casper, physical things like Casper Mountain, how the river plays into Casper, just all sorts of things like that. Then we did a little bit of what we call a vision check, is we show examples of architecture and landscape architecture and ask them to say, yes, that's relevant or cool, or no, it's not cool or not relevant to what we're doing here. And then we ask them, again, this group, to tell us what things they want to do on this plaza. They want to ice skate? Do they want to go to concerts? Do they want to have beer fest? Do they want to have Santa Claus come here? Just what types of events do you want? And then what types of things are we going to build on the plaza, to support those events? And then we have them prioritize. Once we have it all decided, we have them prioritize all those things. And we do it in fun ways by having them, we hand them a bunch of play money, and they actually vote with their dollars. They go and say, well, I really like the skating rink, so I'm going to put a bunch of money on that. And, I don't like this other feature like the zip line or whatever it might be, so I'm not going to vote for that feature. So then once we have all those things, then we actually broke up into separate groups, and we actually let them play architect and landscape architect for a little while. And each of the 4 groups came up with different designs for the plaza on the actual site. But from that, we saw a few prominent themes kept reemerging, like where the skate pond might be located versus the concert lawn, and where the gateways, the entries to the plaza might be, things like that. We start doing things with a specific site, like doing wind studies and sun studies to make sure when we put this concert stage that the sun isn't always in the band's eyes, and it isn't always in the spectator's eyes either. And then I mentioned the wind studies. We want to make sure that we can design the features of the site such that we minimize. We know Wyoming has wind, and especially here in Casper, what we're trying to do is minimize it. Everyone expects that there's going to be wind a lot of the times, but we don't want to have the brunt of the wind bearing down on the plaza so it's uncomfortable for people. This is how we do that, and talks about how you can lift the wind by the use of trees, and even the building itself becomes a way to lift the wind to make sure that the ice pad doesn't get blasted with wind during the winter. So then once we did all that, then it's really time to design. So our landscape architect did the brunt of the layout of the plaza, and he came up with 3 main themes that we garnered from the charrette process, and those were Casper Mountain theme, Modern West theme, and an Oil City theme. And so from those, of course, they liked elements of all 3. So we had to take those 3 concepts and merge it into a Casper theme. We also talked in depth about the materials that we would use for the built structure and how those are compatible with these 3 themes. And so the group liked lots of natural elements, steel and rusted steel, board form concrete, wood, were all themes that kept emerging to the top and are all relevant to these 3 concepts. And so we took all of those materials and merged them together to form the materials that make up the built structures. And then the gateway, this was the first sketch we did of that. Again, drawing on the sort of ranch entrance where you have a couple of poles and a top, but we expanded upon that to give a couple of areas for display banners. So people that are sponsoring an event, like Pepsi might sponsor an event, or there might be multiple sponsors. And so each of the gateways has an opportunity for at least 1 banner, and most of them have 2 banner locations. Also gives a place for the signage, which we all know has been named David Street Station. So what we end up with is 2 basic areas of the site. We have a concert lawn area, and then we have a splash pad area, which converts to an ice rink in the winter. So those are the 2 areas of the site, and then it's crisscrossed with these promenades that allows people to circulate through the site, which is really unique. If you go to other squares of this type, you see the circulation is basically held to the outside. In fact, if you go to Rapid City, that's basically the case, is you're circulating around the outside for the most part. In our design, you're actually circulating right into the middle of the plaza. And then we also, of course, designed the plaza so you could close off portions of David Street and Old Yellowstone District in front of the Civic Auditorium and all the way down to Metro Cafe, so you can have more of a festival layout, and you can fence the larger area off, including the street area, so you could have much larger events. So that's all part of the plan. We worked with, the city, the fire department, to make sure that they didn't have issues with closing down those streets, and they don't, because they're not what they consider arterial streets. So we're able to do that relatively easily.
In March, we're starting with the demolition and construction, with a tentative plan to open November 2016, if construction schedules allow for that, so we can capture the holiday season. But knowing that there are sometimes delays, definitely have the option of, if we can't make November 2016 for the holiday season, it can go then to spring of 2017. We do know that we have to be open and have a few months of operational time to work out potentially some of the kinks, because we've never operated a plaza before. But the total solar eclipse that's coming in August 21st of 2017, reports of, and we don't know whether it's 20,000 or 60,000 folks that are going to descend upon Casper for the event. That's really only, I believe, 2-3 minutes long, but really, if you're going to come all this way, show them a good time, have activities to capture those audiences. So we know we need to be open by August 21st of 2017, and we're on track definitely to be open by that time. We are actually right now sitting on the footprint of the plaza. So it would be the corner of West Yellowstone and David Street, which would then run down West Yellowstone to Ash Street, go down Ash Street to a parking lot, and then come east and then go in front of the fire station. So if anyone is concerned, no, the fire station is not going anywhere. And that site is just over an acre, which with every consultant and other community really is a sweet spot for a project of this size. You want it to be big enough to accommodate masses, but also have the feeling of intimacy as well. We already have the bought and paid for and frankly completely underutilized asset in the downtown public parking garage. And that project, I believe, was completed in the early 80s. It has 420 stalls. Yes, it's used during normal business hours by some of the employees downtown. That is 130 yards away through the alleyway, behind the petroleum building, behind Botticelli's. And part of our construction budget for the plaza is actually to dress up that alleyway, because we know a lot of people are going to be parking in the parking garage and then walking through that. So it's kind of a grand entrance coming in. So brick pavers, new lighting, maybe some murals, things of that nature to kind of hide the fact that you're walking down an alleyway, but still have the functionality for those businesses that need deliveries and garbage trucks and things of that nature. So that's built into the project budget with the plaza. We know Kitty Corner, although private, there's an opportunity for collaboration with the Casper Business Center parking garage, and then other on-street parking as well as private lots downtown. But to anyone that is fearful and saying that we cannot accommodate parking, I would ask them to look at some of the big events that we currently have down here, whether it's the parade, the Christmas parade, Crazy Days Balloon Fest. When we get 5,000-6,000 people, people are willing to walk a few blocks if you give them a good enough reason to. So I don't think parking will be an issue. The old Irish Theater that closed, Civic Auditorium group purchased, that was a huge win, not only for them, but honestly for downtown in this community. It was an area of concern, especially for me, knowing that we were already into a pretty comprehensive project and couldn't go out and do another fundraising project, but would hate to see us do all of this hard work and then directly across the street a property remain vacant for whether it was a month or several years. So their acquisition of that property is perfect. There are so many synergies between our two groups, and in our design we are actually looking at elements because we see the functionality of both and think they're going to be utilized. We've been talking with their board of directors as well as their executive director. One of the items of concern was parking and how we are addressing it and maybe how we can work with them to address some of their concerns. We're talking about design elements to make sure that there's a symbiotic relationship and they're not just two standalone, because there really are some opportunities to work together. I couldn't be more excited for them. I know they still have a long way to go, but it's a great thing for their community. And honestly, we're proud that they've told us both privately and in public press conferences that the success of our project really spurred them to pull the trigger and do this. They believe that there's a resurgence in the arts in this community and specifically downtown, and there's just a ripple effect from our project that's just going to continue to carry on with the Civic Auditorium and many others. We know we want, or we would like, some more downtown housing, market rate, folks with some disposable income that can support the boutique shops or restaurants. But if there's no reason for those folks to be down here because the nightlife isn't here, how do we do that? So really, when we look at this plaza project, it is that catalyst that is going to open up the floodgates for redevelopment as well as new development. So you get thousands of people down here for a specific event. Over the course of a year, could that be hundreds of thousands of people? You give those entrepreneurs the opportunity to capture the market that they're after. We have them here. Here's your opportunity. They're walking by your store. And that's one of the great things about this location. When many people said, why there? Why can't you just go 4 blocks north and 6 blocks to the east or west or what have you? There's 2 acres and you can have all the surface parking you want. We really don't want that. We want to capture the energy and the connectivity downtown. We want people to come down here and park and to walk and to go by a store maybe that they haven't before and walk in there. Even if there isn't a purchase, at least it's exposure for next time. So really it's all part of a big plan to figure out ways to bring folks down here that then entices the private sector and the entrepreneur. And that's one of the beauties of this, both a public and private partnership. Private property owners also participating and helping to beautify and spruce up downtown. Just a block away from here, the Turner Cotman building, so that would be Wyoming Camera Outfitters where they are, Godix. Just above that, there's just this beautiful, beautiful entryway that you come in, beautiful staircase going up to a second story of what's going to be now office space. And when you see the floor and you see the wood details, it's going to be stunning that they are capturing and keeping those historical elements. So if you have the opportunity, once it's open, definitely go in there and take a look. And that's a great thing for us because it's going to show other property owners that might have something similar that it can be done and look at what the space can be. The DDA has a border, and most simply I could probably describe it as Ash Street, so right by Karen and Jim's, east down Collins to the Nick. It wraps around the Nick and then goes down Kimball to C Street, parallels the railroad tracks, kind of does a jog around Center Street, a little west of Center, and then hits David and then comes down to West Yellowstone and then ties into Ash and goes back to Collins Street. So that's our boundary. So as far as the Sandbar district, that's not part of my purview. As well as the old Yellowstone district, who they have a ton of really great things going on. Sky's the limit over there, just a bunch of opportunity, but again, that's outside of our district of the Downtown Development Authority. So it seems kind of silly that there's a red line drawing around a map, but I have to operate within the confines of our scope. I'm very fortunate to work for a completely volunteer board of directors that are very successful, very intelligent, and I don't think we're just going to finish the plaza and their nature or personalities are going to say, okay, we've done it, we're done, and wipe our hands of it. We're going to reload and go after the next project. So we know in our strategic plan, we'd absolutely love a hotel in downtown Casper. We know we need more residential housing, market rate housing. We'll be targeting that. We know we need additional restaurants or bars or things of that nature. So I am very confident that we are not going to rest on our laurels. We will definitely take a minute, at least. Maybe I get to take a week off and go on a vacation, but we are going to go right back after more things, and knowing that this is the project that spurs those opportunities. With the excitement and energy that's going on with the Plaza project, as well as the opportunity with the Civic Auditorium, people are now coming to us and are interested in doing new ventures downtown that historically we haven't seen. So that's definitely an indication that we're on the right track when people are approaching us and looking for space. When we talk about the exciting things coming, how could I forget Art 321, and then the Marco's Pizza, which I think it just changed its name to Ricotta's. At any rate, that was that happened a few years ago, where the city purchased. It was a vacant building, and then they subdivided it to two separate properties, and then put it out on the private market. Art 321, the nonprofit, they purchased it, and if you haven't been in there, try and sneak in there. It is phenomenal. Just the way they did this, it's beautiful. And then the other half of that building is going to be a coal-fired pizza, kind of an urban market, wine bar. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. And that from the plaza is a block away. So you start seeing these dominoes fall with that was the first project, then the plaza, then the civic auditorium. And the things that Art 321 have now brought to downtown with the art walk on Thursday nights every month, it's just been a whirlwind of activity, and couldn't be more impressed with what they've brought to downtown. It was interesting. My old position, it was a great organization. I had a great job, but I was traveling all over the state, which was very interesting. It afforded me the opportunity to see every corner and every little town in Wyoming and all that this beautiful state has to offer, but I was always gone. And I felt an extreme disconnect with Casper. I knew more people in Laramie, Cheyenne, and Sheridan than I did in Casper. And the longer I was here, the more I wanted to get involved, and I wanted to feel that connection and that engagement. So this opportunity presented itself. It was the right time for me personally and professionally with where I was at, with my family as well. And I put my hat in the ring, not thinking they'd pay me any attention, but I guess they did, and it worked out well. And I think my background with construction management and real estate development, they saw the writing on the wall on the track that as a board they were going down, and it was a pretty good fit, and I couldn't be more happy. Where before I didn't feel quite as connected to the community, now I'm right here and we're doing very positive things, and I couldn't be more proud and happy with the decision I made.